Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Stephen Williams Show. I want to discuss with you today why I think that the banks are the best institutions on the face of the whole earth. Yeah, I did say the banks are the best institutions on the face of the whole earth. I know a lot of people will disagree with me because a lot of people are very hostile towards the banks. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I know there's a lot of negativity towards banks. But personally, my experience with the banks over the years has been very positive, and they help me today to reach where I am, even though I'm not as far as I want to be. Why do I say that the banks are the best institutions on the face of the earth? Well, but before I even go into that, like where I live in Canada, there are five major banks. The number one is RBC. Then we have Scotia Bank. Then we have TD, my favorite bank, National Bank, CIBC, and there's a new one by the name of Tangerine. And I guess there are some others and credit unions as well. Well, for me, the services that the bank provides are exceptional. Take for instance, let's say you have $1,000,000. Would you want to keep that money under your mattress at home, so to speak? Then if you should do that, then you'd become a target of criminals. So the bank provides a safe place for us to keep our money. That's one reason. Reason number two, think of the convenience of paying your bills online through the banks. You can set up pre-authorized payments so you don't have to take a bus or a taxi or go out in the cold to go and pay a bill at a counter. So you can just go online on your computer, bam, 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 your bill is paid. So that's an excellent service. The third The third reason I say that the banks are the greatest institution is that the banks lend you money that it would take you 1,000,000 years to save and to accumulate. So if you for instance have $10,000 to deposit on a house that values say $200,000, you can now possess a $200,000 house by just having $10,000. That is what they call leverage. So you can use the bank's money to build wealth, because after a number of years, chances are, and not all the time, but chances are the real estate goes up in value. And it happens to me. I experienced that while I was in Jamaica. I bought my house for, at the time, it was about $4.5 million. And I sold it, and that's Jamaican dollars, by the way. And then I sold it 5 years later for $10.5 million. And I paid off the bank, and I had, the rest was mine. Yeah, so the bank, otherwise I would have been working and never ever seen that kind of money. So that's why I love the banks. Yeah, in Canada too, I had a similar experience. Came here, I had a deposit, and I built my credit, got my deposit for about say $13,000 with closing costs and all of that. That time you could pay down $5,000 on a home, and I had a house valued nearly $200,000. Yeah, and the madness started the other day when the Chinese and all of those people were bidding up the prices, and there was a price war, and so the value of my house skyrocketed. I was happy for that, even though it was unrealistic for the price to be going so. But if you're in the market and that's happening, more power to you. Yeah. So if I didn't have the banks lending me that money to buy that $200,000 house, then I would have missed the boat, right? So the banks, when people talk about the banks are the banks is this and the banks is that. Don't listen to them. The banks are your friends. They help you to accumulate wealth more than any other institution on the face of the earth. And the little fees that they charge is nothing compared to what they can do for you. So I love the banks. All of them are my friends. Let me move on to say that they lend, of course, based on your credit history. So it is good to protect your credit. When you have damaged credit, you are in big trouble. All right, they lend based on income. You have to have a good income to borrow money, which makes sense. You can't borrow and can't pay back. You have to prove to the bank that you can pay back this money and you're working a good job and you're getting a good income. All right, and they'll lend you, some will lend you based on collateral. So if you have a piece of land or another house and you want to borrow money from the banks, they will think about it. They will assess you and lend it to you. So the important thing for us to do is to use borrowing wisely. Use borrowing responsibly. People who get into trouble are people who go around and they don't calculate the numbers. They just go and borrow. They borrow to buy a house, they borrow to buy a car, they borrow to buy furniture, they borrow student loan and debt upon debt upon debt, and then they find themselves can't pay. Then you curse the bank. It's not the bank's fault, it's your fault for not behaving responsibly. Okay? So don't blame the banks for stupid decisions that people make. Right? What will prevent you from getting a loan from the bank? It's bad credit. If you have a bad credit history, there's a problem. Credit is like trust. So they are saying they can't trust you because you're not responsible enough, because in the past you have borrowed their money and you have got a claim, you have filed a bankruptcy, etc. Alright? Consumer proposal, you avoid those things. Yeah? Or if you have no income, you can't get money to borrow. Or if your expenses exceed your income, then the bank will not lend you money. But apart from that, the bank will lend you money when you have your financial life in order. I've experienced it and I can testify that it makes a lot of sense to have a good relationship with your banks, because the banks are here to help us. They are not our enemies as some people are portraying them. They are your friends, but you've got to use their money responsibly and don't be fooled, and then you have to file bankruptcy by over borrowing and then you blame it on the banks. Okay? Take care of yourself and be responsible when you're borrowing money. Blessings.